Hi fantasy managers, welcome to FPL Team Talk. Welcome to this video which is all about team selection for game week 17. We've been allowed a limitless amount of transfers to make before Boxing Day, so I'm going to go through my team selection, who I've chosen and why. So if you enjoy these sort of videos, give it a like, don't forget to subscribe, and in the meantime, let's take a look. Before I go into my team selection then, let's just clarify one or two smaller details. Remember, we got until Boxing Day when the Premier League starts up again, so we have until that time to make unlimited transfers to our side, effectively a new wild card if you like. The prices are fixed, so we haven't got to worry about any price fluctuations. We get another wild card on the 1st of January as well to use, but that will be the last one and only one we have to use between then and the end of the season. And I do think it's important when I show you my draft side that I do have some value tied up in players. So if I take them out, I'm selling them for less than they're worth. So if I bring them back later, it will have cost me more. So that is a caveat. That is something that I am considering and is a factor in my side. The other thing that I need to consider as well, I think, is that there have been some double game weeks announced. They are a little bit further down the line, and it is going to be a pretty frenetic end of the second half of the season. We've got lots of fixtures to put back in because of the rail postponement and the strikes, and also obviously the Queen passing away and her funeral. There was a whole round of fixtures that were rearranged, so they've got to be squeezed in somewhere along the line. It's going to make for quite an exciting second half of the season, I think, if you're good at planning and looking forward. The games that we know at the moment they're going to have double game weeks. We've got Chelsea versus Fulham, so they'll both have double. None of them are particularly sort of enticing. Man City in game week 20, then Tottenham again have one as well, and then Man City again in 23. But as you can see, there's no doubles there that look really appealing. You say probably Fulham's is the best double, but do we really want to be piling in on Fulham players? I'm not sure there's many Fulham assets I'm going to want, perhaps a Mitrovic. Man City obviously do have two doubles. And Man City assets are good at any time anyway, so I certainly will be looking on them. It's just a case of who can we guarantee is going to play is going to be probably the issue. So do have to bear that in mind, but we're only in game week 17, so this doesn't affect till later on, and we will have transfers to make. But I am going to have these double game weeks in the back of the mind. So without further ado, let's have a look at my side. Now I'm starting off with Nick Pope in goal. I do have some value tied up in him. Newcastle defence has just been really good, and their fixtures look pretty decent. I wear Leicester, not sure that's a green fixture. I'll be a little bit surprised if Leicester don't score on that fixture. They've been playing a lot better. They've really turned the corner in the last few games, scoring plenty of goals. They're a good attacking side anyway. So Nick Pope, good save points, but Newcastle's just been so good so this half of the season, defensively as well. I'm happy to stick with Pope, and I'm probably happy to ride out him in this fixture. Strange enough, he obviously will double up with Ward in goal, and they play each other. As we'll see later on, possibly I've got a decision to make in that first game week back with those two playing against each other. And as we'll see in a minute, I've got Trippier in defence, a bit of a spoiler there. So he was going to be, do I want to double up on that Newcastle defence away at Leicester, or am I happy to hedge my bets a little bit and go Ward in goal and have one of each? I don't know is the answer to that. I need to think about that. But Ward has really done really well for Leicester. Leicester's defence have tightened up in recent times. Got, I think it's 3 out of the last 4 games he's got clean sheets in. So overall not that impressive, but in recent times I think if you take the last few games, Leicester look really good. So happy to go with that. I don't want to spend any more. Did consider Edison. I think with the value I've got wrapped up in Pope, I'm just going to stick with him. So those are my 2 goalkeepers. Ward, cheapest playing goalkeeper. I just think good backup, and I can dovetail those 2 if I need to. 9 times out of 10 I think I'm just going to favour Pope. As we've already said, Trippier, I do have some investment in him already, but great XGI. Even if I didn't have some money tied up in with him, I would go with him. Look at that, 11 points, 12 points and 5 points last 3 games. Lots of attacking returns on pens, corners, not pens, on free kicks and corners. So he looks like a really good buy. I'm not moving Kieran Trippier. His XGI is just up there with the very best. And if you combine that with the fact that he's getting clean sheets for Newcastle, bonus points as well, he's just such an asset. I don't think I can really go without him. Fixtures look good. Away at Arsenal will be very tricky. Other than that, potentially clean sheets there for Newcastle along the way. Next in goal, in defence, I'm going to go Cancelo. He's not one that's absolutely nailed for me, but trying to find a way into that Manchester City side where you know someone's going to play every week is just the real challenge, isn't it, for FPL managers. Walker could be an option. We'll look at him later on. XGR just doesn't look great. He got sent off, then he picked up 1 point. He is expensive, but I just want a way into that Man City defence. So 7.4, he's expensive. I think with this side, I do have the money to get him in. So for the moment, I'm having him in. I do want a Man City defender. Do I save money and risk not having someone play every week? That's the question. Cancelo at least gives you that. XGI doesn't look brilliant, but he has had a few returns this year. So I'm still happy to go with Cancelo. Depending on the money, what I can do with elsewhere, I still need to jiggle. But right now, he's in my first draft. We'll have a look at him. He's going to stay in for now. And then I'm going to look at options later on. Cancelo, for the time being, is in there. Reece James, we've got to keep an eye on his fitness. He's training again, so I believe. XGI is brilliant. Just those clean sheets again for Chelsea. I mean, those fixtures look brilliant. I mean, Bournemouth at home, Forest away. Then you've got horrible game against Manchester City, yes, but Fulham away, and it's a double anyway, followed by Palace at home. 3 out of the next 4 games, which look like absolutely brilliant. So, Reece James plays. He's absolutely 100% nailed in my side. Just got to wait for his fitness, really. If we get any inclination that he's not fit, I could possibly move on to a Chilwell, something like that. But Reece James is my preferred. XGI is just excellent, right up there with the best of him. We know what he could do. Double-digit hauls last year so many times. I really like him. He's been in there since the start of the season. It's only because he's injured that he's come out. There's no other reason. Even with not keeping a clean sheet, he just offers so much attacking returns as well. So alongside Reece James, we have Dalot. Other options we'll go through in a minute as well. Great fixtures. Next 3 games for Man United just look brilliant. Forest, Wolves, Bournemouth. I don't think you can get much better than that. So 0.17, he hasn't offered a great deal going forward, but just for clean sheets and 4.8, great value. I think Dalot, good way into that Manchester United defence. And then Tomiyasu. Now, there's a worry with him. Again, he's got a yellow flag. Missed, I think, the last friendly they had was at Juventus. Didn't turn up for that because he's worried he came back from the World Cup with hamstrings. So I have to keep an eye on that. The other option would be potentially go to White. But again, I think it's just the best defence in the league at the moment. I do want an Arsenal player in there. Tomiyasu just doesn't seem to offer much going forward. But not many of those Arsenal defenders do, unless you want to move up to a Saliba or maybe a Gabriel. And then I think there's still a limited amount of attacking returns they provide. That would make up my back 5. And there is scope for manoeuvre in there, I think. And we'll go through options at the end. Moving into midfield, do like Zaha. I think SGI looks pretty decent. He's got good fixtures, Fulham and then Bournemouth. At that point, I think I might then just jump off Crystal Palace. He's done all right. He's got no points last game, but 12 points, 2 points. Hit or miss on penalty still, though he is prone to miss 1 or 2. But I've had him for about 5 or 6 weeks. Hit and miss. He has some really good weeks. I still like him. I still think Palace are a decent side going forward. I want Zaha in my side. Alongside him, Elmron, I think he's been... I don't even need to talk to him too much. He's just been outstanding towards the back end of this season. Really hit the form running. Newcastle as well look brilliant. Good fixtures. Elmron, for the price, is probably the best value pound per pound, I think, in that midfield. He is the top scoring midfielder in the whole game. Elmron just been outstanding so far. Andreas then at 4.6. He comes in. Again, they've got a lot of fixtures. For the price, I just think he's got to come in. He's just an enabler, but he's playing every week, chipping in with the odd assist and goal as well. Fixtures don't look too bad. Double game week at some point too. I think Andreas, enabler, 4.6, and playing. If I put him on a bench, I'm happy to have him on a bench. He absolutely is in the side. Alongside him, then I'm going to go Salah. This is one of them I'm on about. I'm not entirely fixed upon. Do think that Liverpool's still scoring lots of goals, even if they haven't been that impressive so far this season. Salah on penalties. He's had a rest. He's nailed in that Liverpool side. I think Liverpool kind of been forgotten a little bit. I do think 12.8, he's expensive. I'm umming and ahhing about him. At the moment I've put him in, I do think in previous seasons would not have even dreamt of going without him. And here I am thinking possibly he's too much money and not worth the risk. His XGI and his underlying stats still look good. So I'm undecided, but at the moment he's in my draft. I just think people overlooking Liverpool maybe a little bit too much. Without Diaz as well, maybe that will affect him. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And then Mount's a tricky one as well. Definitely not nailed in this side. And XGI is not brilliant. He just looks like a 2-point merchant too many times. But those fixtures of Bournemouth, Forest and Fulham, I want an attacking Chelsea player in there, and he does fit the bill. 7.5, not too expensive, I don't think. But I just want a Chelsea player in. I don't want to go Jorginho. I don't want to go Kovacic. It's not enough going forward. And then I'm starting to look at strikers. I don't want to use a striker's berth for a Chelsea player. But those fixtures look really good. So does Mount go in there? Too expensive to go to Sterling unless I drop Salah down. I'm just not sure. But Mount at the moment provisionally is my side, but by no means absolutely nailed on. I think it's definitely a conversation. I wouldn't take a lot of persuasion to move me off Mount to someone else. Up front, Martial. I do like Martial. Those fixtures, Forest, Wolves, Bournemouth, great fixtures, decent price. Clearly, Ten Hag has made him his number one up front. So he's had enough time to recover. Training now fully as well. I expect him to start the next game in Week 17 against Forest, possibly on pens, although Bruno may take them. We have to wait and see how that would go. But his XG has been unbelievable. When he plays, he just looks $1 million. And I think if he gets a run in the first 11, it's playing up front, for that price and those fixtures, I think he could just be absolutely brilliant. No Ronaldo now to sort of distract them or to take up a place up front for Man United. Martial doesn't appear to have a lot of competition. So I think 6.7 is a really good opportunity. I really like Martial as a differential, and just those fixtures just look too good to turn down. Haaland then, not even going to have a conversation about that. I just think it's pretty obvious. Even though those horrible fixtures coming up with Chelsea, Man U and Tottenham and Wolves, I just think that he's just undroppable, really. He has to be in there, even at that price. Got no issues with that. And finally, another one, just holding this place in the side, and I think he will have to come out. But right now, I've got him in. He has had a few returns, as you can see, and he's done pretty well. But those fixtures don't look nice. I don't mind sticking on the bench. He is an enabler, but I think there's better options than Solanke, and I'm going to go through those in a minute. I'm definitely not sold on him, but for the time being, he's just holding his place in this side. Right, let's have a look at some of the options then to bring other players in. The side that I've got is just worth over just under 100 million. You might have more, you might have slightly less. I will say that I have got players that I feel that I'm not really prepared to move. The ones I've put in boxes there, I've got Pope and Ward. I think I'm happy with those. Ward's the obvious choice for a second place goalkeeper backup because he plays. I could dovetail him or rotate him with Pope, and Pope I've got enough value in that I don't want to lose it. I'm just going to stick with him. Trippier has to stay. James, if he's fit, that's the only thing that will stop me from having him in the side. And even if he is a doubt, but he looks like he'll be fit for the next game, I've got to make a decision now. I just want him longer term. And will it save me a transfer later on? With those great fixtures, we'll have to wait and see. Zaha and Almiron, absolutely in midfield for me. They're absolutely must-haves. And I've got Martial and Haaland. So that just leaves Andreas. I could nearly have boxed him off because he's just so cheap in that midfield. And Salah and Mount and Solanke, Tomiyasu and Dalot, I just think, and Cancelo, possibly different options. Now I could go KDB. I could just take Salah out, go KDB. They've got double game weeks coming up. The fixtures look decent. KDB didn't have a great World Cup. Come back with a bit more to prove, but we know he's nailed in that Man City midfield. And other than Bernardo, who isn't producing a lot, I think he's the obvious choice. So it's just a cost. I couldn't get him in and Salah. So he could come out and De Bruyne could come in. The other choice is as well, Walker when he's fit, his plays as well. Doesn't offer much going forward, but you could save, 2.6 million by bringing in Walker instead of Cancelo. So that is another option that I'm seriously looking at, and I did before. Rashford is another one. With those fixtures, he looks really good option. I could take Mount out, bring in Rashford, or if I went down to Cancelo to Walker, then upgrade maybe an Andreas, that could be an option as well. Then we start looking at other areas at the side as well. Martinelli, I haven't got much of an Arsenal presence here. Top of the league, possibly a Mount to a Martinelli. That could be an option as well. Luke Shaw, now Dalot to Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw offering a bit more going forward. Looks as nailed for the same price without a flag. I think that's a move I'm already going to be penciling in. I think Luke Shaw instead of Dalot looks like a good call to me. I haven't lost anything. I'm just shifting across to someone who's perhaps a little bit of an option. And Dalot's got a flag in. Shaw seems to be in a much more favoured left back now with Dalot going on to the other side. So that could be a good choice. And then the other choice is as well Harry Kane. So I could definitely go down from a Salah to someone and then upgrade Solanke to someone like a Kane. I think that looks like a really decent option. I really would like Kane in the side, on pens, nailed, all that good stuff. I really want to get Kane in. I think my next draft is going to definitely have him in. Finally, maybe the other choice is another way of getting the likes of Kane into my side, keeping Cancelo, is Somerville. What's he scored? 4 in the last 4. One of the form players for Leeds. Their fixtures next coming up, obviously, against Manchester City. You put him on a bench, and for 4.4, don't mind doing that. Doesn't feel much point going from Andreas to Somerville. So could I just go straight from a Mount to a Somerville? Somerville, keep Cancelo and upgrade Solanke to someone like a Kane. That is definitely an option, but Somerville can't be overlooked for 4.4, scored 4 goals in the last 4 games. I think that's too good to turn down, and that gives me a bit more money as well with putting Kane in to even upgrade a Tomiyasu to someone like a Ben White, which would give me a bit more security in that Arsenal defence. But Somerville's one that I will definitely be having a look at. That's it for this one then. Let me know in the comments below, who are you bringing in for game week 17? Who is nailed on? And are there any players that I've completely overlooked that you think I should be bringing in for game week 17? We'll come back at you with a finalised draft before the Boxing Day deadline. So make sure you tune in for that. In the meantime, take care, good luck, and I shall speak to you soon.